Hey guys, so happy New Year's. It's 2021 finally. I hope 2020 was nice to you, kind to you, and gave you some perspective. This video is just, I guess, a compilation of everything that I've spoken on so far. And just to clarify some things and make things much more acknowledgeable if you ever sit down and rewatch what I have already spoken. Again, these videos are for me as much as it is for yourself. I don't necessarily go back and actually rewatch these, but I will within due time. I think I'll do like a period, couple months of rewatching these. Do I think these videos have the greatest amount of jewels or wisdom within them? I could just only hope so. I can only speak on my experiences and what God has put on my heart to speak upon. And so that is what I will do consistently. I I actually been, I guess, gifted with some wise words from a wise man to maybe I need to stop being so humble about this and actually take it serious. So there will be some hashtags in this video and all that good stuff. Not the biggest person when it comes to social media, but you know, if I'm doing this now, then it must lead to something. I've never done anything with my heart content of movement with God and the universe that it did not lead to something else. And so, yeah. So if I push this a little bit, I push it. But here we go. Right? So with the very first video I spoke about was about perfection. And I was thinking about this today. I was like, man, why did I attack perfection the way I did? The reason why I attacked perfection the way I did is because I have a hard time with not necessarily people, but the culture of what we live in and pushing us to be more consumers. And so the reason why they're the tool that they're using to push us to be consumers, I feel like is pushing us into these curses that I've consistently talked about, if not harder than what it was in the past. I feel like in the past histories, it was easier for us to possibly get away, even though people still fell for these curses and everything like that. I feel like a lot of those people were still able to find a way to get away. Nowadays, I feel like that's not completely true. So how does that turn into perfection? A lot of times when a salesman is trying to sell you something, they're trying to sell you something off of a perfected idea that if I have this thing, it's going to perfect my life. It's going to make me feel attained through this object or through these likes or through this attention that I can gain from others from me doing this and putting myself in that putting myself in that subject to where I'll be a wholesome, moresome person when that is completely, I don't believe that is completely true. In truth, if you're looking for perfection, it has always been within you. Every one of us has a piece of God, a piece of the universe, and a piece of the cosmos that resonates in us, vibrates for only us to use, and it's a gift. However you use that gift is however you use that gift. The biggest sin you can do is to neglect that gift or to ignore that gift and not give it its time that it deserves to shine. There's I can't think of his name, but somebody said this once upon a time about, it's a motivational speaker, and he said, um, I think it was JP something, but he said something that really I think everybody should really hear, um, and to paraphrase it, it was every dream that comes to you for a reason. And every time that you go against that dream and you don't pursue that dream, in the end, that dream is going to die with you. With that being said, it's just like what he kind of said in the self motivational workout video. He said, there's more dreams buried in a funeral, or in a funeral, than one body. There are more dreams buried in the graveyard than there are bodies, right? And that in itself is the reason why perfection should not be your goal. See, a lot of people get mixed up with perfection with also kind of like gluttony with attainment, right? They believe that they build a perfect life for themselves. I mean, everybody goes through struggles, but within their lives, they believe that they built a perfect life for themselves, that it fits and it coexists in a matter that they don't have to completely worry about it. If you wake up and you have that nagging feeling that you're not chasing what you should be chasing, then you're not living the fullest to your life. You're not living your purpose. You're not living in the confines of who you're really supposed to be. And not only that, perfection isn't always, you're not going to reach your perfect state always based on what you're chasing or what you're trying to attain. To put it, I'm gonna go against this saying, or not really go against it, but I'm gonna say something that is completely different from this saying, and I hope you can grasp it. They say godliness is next to cleanliness, right? I would say that is a lot of times true, but what kind of clean are you trying to speak upon? Are you speaking upon physical clean, like keeping your place in check and everything like that, so that whenever you leave and you come back, you coming home to a clean place? Or are you talking about your daily life? Are you keeping your daily life and your character clean? And I think that's what that saying actually means. Too many people get mixed up on the physical aspects of trying to be their perfect self when they don't even clean up their own mistakes that they have created for themselves. Um, like I said in the past, pride, right? Pride is created through consistently lying to yourself about yourself, and it creates a ego within yourself of not necessarily being able to be self-correcting. To be a humble person is a person that can be self-corrected or corrected by others. And it's the same thing as far as being clean. If I'm a clean person, then I'm consistently looking at things that I can get better or do better at. To be a clean person isn't also completely, like I said, about being clean physically. Because a lot of people who might have a dirty place, when they leave their place, might actually be one of the coolest, cleanest people that you will ever know. You know, it just so happened they have one little thing in their life that they allow to be dirty, and that might just be their place. And maybe that's what helps them stay clean within their life. But with that being said, what do I mean by being clean in your life? If I had to actually go through this where, well, like I said, I constantly are going to speak about personal matters. So recently, about 2019, I was dating a woman, and 2019 leading into 2020, we broke up. Things didn't work out, so we tried again later on in that December. So we tried again. It gets to February, we're doing pretty well. One day she did something, and finally, I'm a very patient person, but like I'm that person that once you hit that spot, there is no holding back. I'm not gonna say something to not hurt you, and that's my problem, and I've been working on that for years, and I will probably continue to work on that. But if I say something to you, I'm not going to say something to you just so it's like he's just mad. No, I want you to know that I'm pissed. So I said something to her and it really hurt her. And for about 3 or 4 months, I was just sitting there. Like, I'll wake up. Sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and be like, man, I really shouldn't have said that. I really owe this woman an apology. Even after that happened, I think it wasn't even a week later, and I apologized for it. But even within that week, I don't think it was a complete heartfelt apology. So I had to go through time, and God kept it heavy on my heart, and my consciousness kept it heavy on me. And finally, I think it was September or October, we finally sat down and had that conversation, and I apologized wholeheartedly about my actions. Now, what does that pertain to me talking about so far? That in itself, I'm not trying to say I'm trying to be like God or anything, but that in itself is what it means to be clean, and clean leads to godliness. If you cannot go back and correct the mistakes that you have made in the past, you're never going to truly be a clean person. And you're consistently going to short sight yourself or shortcut yourself with pride, because it will be pride that will stop you from going back and reliving, or not necessarily reliving, but correcting the mistakes of your past. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be what you've done to another. It could be what has been done to you. If you have not went back and confronted what has been done with you, then you are not a clean person. You are a more so person that is walking with mud on them. You went through a swamp, and now you got out the swamp, but yet you still haven't chosen to take that stuff off so you can go and have a good time in the Perry and have a good time with all the fruitful flowers, right? You still smelling like a swamp when you could be smelling like a beautiful plain. And that's the choice that you're making every time you choose not to be the cleanest that you can truly be. Now, even with you becoming a clean soul, that does not mean that you're a perfect person. Does that mean you're going to slip? Yes. Does that mean that you're going to curse and make all this bad stuff happen? Yes. But what you being a clean person say about you is your willingness and your thoughtfulness and your wholeheartedness to be able to go back and clean the mess that you've created. And in that truth, there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with cleaning up what has already been messed up, or at least trying to clean up what has been messed up. Sometimes, if it's dealing with other people, some people just aren't at that stage where they can be reasoned with, to where they can allow you to clean up what you've messed up. And so you got to be patient, and you got to give them that time until they're ready for that. Now, that's the beginning, right? So that was the first video that had to do with perfection. Again, like I said in the past, me, nobody will ever be perfect. The only thing that we will ever see that is perfect is the sun coming up and the moon coming in. Not only that, it will be the trees, the ocean, the non-man-made lakes, the lion, right? Those things are perfected. you know I highly doubt a lion ever wakes up and wonder what would a good lion be. There's nothing to think about. That all he can say and do is do his nature. And the difference between humans and every other creatures on this planet, that God has gifted us with choice. And choice is probably the strongest and most delicate weapon that we have, because your choices can either make you into who you want to be, or keep you where you are, or set you back. And in times, we got to be able to recognize what our choices are doing. And the cleaner you can be with your choices, the cleaner you will be with your life. And not only with your life, the more so you will walk and you will see your purpose just opening up, blossoming in front of you. The universe wants to give us gifts because we are God's children, you know. And so it would be bad if you received your gift when you're in a bad situation. And next thing you know, your gift is not necessarily a gift, but it's another burden. It's another bill. It's another it's a hit at your credit score, right? So that's with perfection. I spoke about this last time. It was gluttony. Now, let me clear this up, right? I'm not saying going out there and getting a Lambo or a nice house is something bad. But what I am saying is if you're putting these earthly items as something that will make you live or make you feel better about yourself, then you are walking into a trap, and that trap is gluttony. And just like with all these sins, and just like with the mistake of trying to be perfect for the world, you yourself are going to find yourself being uplifted through your gluttony through pride, because pride is just going to lie to you that your choices that you're making financially, or the choices that you're making time wise, because the two biggest currencies in every aspect of life, so far that we have learned, is time and health. And whatever you give your health to and whatever you give your time to, you can never get that back. Some people, me for example, I can gain so much pounds and lose it quick, right? But that does not mean that it's not doing damage into my internal organs. That does not mean that it's doing damage to certain things I can't really see. I can only feel it and it nags and I ignore it, but that does not mean that the damage has been done. Um, with that being said, that is the cue to gluttony. Gluttony, gluttony's weakness is your purpose, right? But you should not mix your purpose in with attainment. A lot of time, your purpose is not coexist with attainment, right? What does that mean? I said this beforehand. It's great that these athletes are so worshipped and so loved, and they give so much to people. But in the end, you just never know how much they really are sacrificing. A lot of those people lose relationship with their families, the same families that they want to give everything to. They find themselves losing attachment and losing out on time that could have been spent with their families due to them trying to attain something that they believe is going to give them voucher or justice for everything that they have put their time into, right? Everybody, I know a lot of people, whenever you watch the Hall of Fame adoptees into all these different types of sports, a lot of them you will hear them say, I apologize to my wife, or I apologize to my kids. I apologize, because that's time that they can't make up. That's time that they cannot get back. And, it's different phases. And that's the thing, sometimes I sit back, I'm about to be 30 years old next year or this year. And I sit back and I think about it like, man, like, my father's back in my life, and, he still has the rest of my life to be in my life. But those younger days when, quote unquote, I really needed him, those days are gone. And the lessons that I had to learn by myself, he will never be able to teach me. And he can't really build upon it because he wasn't there. And that's the strong thing about attainment and living your purpose, and having gluttony. Taking so much to try and feel fulfilled is not going to get you to that point of fulfillment. Um, we all are going to pass on and have to close our eyes. You're never going to be able to take what you've accomplished or taken from the earth. No amount of money is going to go back with you to the other side. No amount of cars that you've bought, no amount of your credit, no amount of your house, none of that is coming back with you. So what are you really going to leave behind? A lot of times what's going to be left behind by you is what people can say for you or about you. So would you rather have a life of purpose where many can speak well upon you and about you, or would you rather have a life where they can say, oh, he had everything, but he's gone now? And that's the thing. That's where gluttony comes in, because always trying to get more does not always mean that you are gaining what you really need or what you really want. Sometimes what you're trying to grab is necessarily standing right in front of you, and that might be your purpose. Your wife can be your purpose, your children can be your purpose. And in truth, right? And especially nowadays, you're seeing it where these people, these racist people, um, they've been raised the wrong way. And if your purpose is your child, then your child should not have, at some point, there's always a point where your child shouldn't really have harbor for a person they can never know. You know, it's asinine. It's crazy to think racism is still a lot around when, you know, it's been scientifically proven time and time again we're all the same. But that goes back to parenthood. That goes back to these parents who aren't really sitting their kids down and having that honest, purposeful conversation with these kids. And I digress, but that's what I'm trying to lead into. What is your purpose? If you say your children is your purpose, right? It's great to keep a roof over their head and food in their belly. But if you're not teaching them how to be the best human being they can be, then are they truly your purpose? Or are you just trying to say they're your purpose because you could see a part of you in them? And that's what really needs to be put to the forefront. What is your purpose? And attain everything that you can attain within that purpose. Myself, I said this beforehand, my purpose is to love, right? So everything that I can do within that, I'm going to do. I can feed the homeless through my love, right? That doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there and just give them $100 of bills, and every time I get paid, they get paid type of thing. No, I can feed them in love. How many of those people do you think actually get asked how they're doing, how their day is doing? Do they feel okay? Are they, do they need to talk to somebody? Sometimes you got to give that type of love to a person. Um, Not only that, animals, giving my love to animals, giving my love to other wrestlers who are going out there and wrestling, giving them my wisdom, give just stuff like that. I feel like that is my purpose for living, to teach love and to give love as much as I can. Hint to this video. So the next one is wrath. uh, Again, I haven't said it, but these sins aren't necessarily things that you do. They're curses upon yourself. It's whenever you sin, and whenever you're truly living in sin, you are constantly drinking poison. It's not necessarily an action. I can get mad, or I can really go on a rampage, but that does not mean I'm a wrathful person, right? A wrathful person is somebody who is being weighed down by things that they haven't let go of. They're allowing things to have more control over them than what they want. Everybody wishes to be free. Everybody in this world wishes to be free. But the weight that you could put on yourself is not necessarily the weight that you put on yourself as far as body wise. It can be love wise. It can be the wrath that your wrath can come from your jobs. Your wrath can come from your friends. And wrath isn't always going to show itself in a matter that you're going to think. It's not going to be an outburst where you're like, oh, I'm just mad. Sometimes, and I've had to come to this realization for myself. Wrath is going to show itself in possibly a survivor's remorse, because I do deal with that sometimes, because I have been through so much in my life. Um, just recently, I was so happy in my life, so happy. I was with this woman and I was just so happy in my life. But all the while I was saying all the while where I was happy, I was also contemplating, did I have that right to be happy? Did I have do I deserve to be happy? You know, so many things have went wrong where it was just like, man, like, do I really deserve to be happy? And now I can say at this point in my life, yes, I definitely deserve to be happy. But your wrath can put that wedge in your head, and it can weigh you down. It is not going to make you do things that are very bad, but you will do things that will poison yourself. Instead of you being able to see the sun, you're probably not even going to really see the sun. Instead, you're going to want to be more so in your bed. You know, you're not going to enjoy the day completely. You're not going to be happy that there's a new day. You know, that's where wrath can show itself. Wrath is not necessarily something about blowing up. Wrath in itself is putting yourself in darkness. It's turning off the lights and closing the closet door and sitting in the closet door and allowing that frustration to just build. And it's not always, like I said, it's not gonna be you being mad or you being a harmful person to the rest of the world. Sometimes it's just gonna be you being harmful to yourself. That's where, you know, it's crazy where people be like, man, I smoke weed so I can relax. Why would you need to smoke weed to relax? You should be able to just relax just to relax. You should be able to sit down, listen to some music, and relax. But if what you're dealing with or what you have been dealing with weighs you down to that much that you feel like you have to put another substance in your body or in your mind to get you to relax, then you are dealing with something that you need. There's something within you. There's something within yourself that is battling, that needs to be dealt with. And you need to draw a conclusion to it. And you got to draw that line from that point on. Draw it in the stand and be like, from this point on, this weight is not on me no more. And that's one of the ways you can beat it, because you gotta, you know, say F it, and it's off, and there's no turning back. You gotta accept it. You gotta look at it and be like, you know what, I went through that, but what I went through did not define me. I'm at a new place. And for those people who allow what they went through to define them, then you are being a coward. You can speak upon it and you can do all the woes me, but a real hero or and I believe this, that everybody has to be a hero in themselves, to themselves, that a real hero will turn around and take on that enemy or that villain, that weight on your body, and go against it so you can get to the point where you can be a loving, happy person where you can see things clearer. Because that's what wrath does. It makes something beautiful and turns it ugly. You get a beautiful wife, but yet you see that she has a flat chest. You know, you have beautiful children, but instead of you looking at your children beautifully, you see that your kid, he's not as competitive as your best friend kid. And so you drive him harder than what you really need to make him a more competitive kid, you know, or you live your life through him. And, you know, we can just go on and on, but that is the truth. Wrath is blinders, pride is a lie, gluttony is trying to find fulfillment in things outside of yourself. And the last one, and probably what I think is probably the most saddest of the curses that I've talked about so far, is sloth. Um, Sloth to me, it's sad because, you know, me being I'm only like 5'7", 5'8", you know, on a good day. Um, it's crazy for me to walk around and see somebody 6 foot and above and be like, in the back of my head, I'm always like, man, if I was 6 foot something, I would be in the NFL or NBA right now. Like, what are you doing with your life? And I mean no disrespect to anybody that's about, you know, that height or anything like that, but that's what goes through my head. It's sad to see a person who does not go up and beyond on who they can be. A slothful person is a cowardly person. A slothful person, uh, they have morals, but their morals can easily be weighed. Their morals can easily be snuffed and can be bent. To me, somebody who's a snitch is a sloth, a slothful person. What does that mean? Snitches, the old proverbs, snitches get stitches, right? If I'm going to snitch on somebody else, or if I'm going to tell on somebody else when I have nothing to do with whatever's going on, that is me being slothful on myself to that person. That's going against the code, right? But when you snitch somebody out, you tattletale or something like that, that's just you not being wise enough and just saying, this is not my business, and stepping away from it. Um, but I digress. I digress. But a slothful person is what I was trying to get to is a slothful person. They don't have the biggest morality. They're cowards because in order for you to have morality, you're going to have a shield and a sword. You're going to have to fight for your morality consistently, because consistently, not necessarily the world, not necessarily the devil, and not necessarily God or the universe, but you're going to be challenged, you know? And that's the thing. How many times are you going to really be able to put your sword up and your shield up and defend your morality? And a slothful person, sadly to say, they let it go a lot of times, and a lot of times they get beat down, and they mean well, but they just can't do it. But how can you do it? It is simple. You take that step and you build that fortitude whenever you make that step. If I said I'm going to clean up, then I'm going to put my phone down, I'm going to turn on the TV, I'm might put on some music, and I'm going to get to work. You put your head down and you do what you got to do. A slothful person so many times, too many times, look up and look around and see what they want, but they convince themselves they can't attain it because it looked like it's too much effort that needs to be put forward to get it. A lot of times, the biggest effort that you need to take is the courage to just leap, take a step forward. You take that step forward, next thing you know, you're just going. The soul is just as attached to the body as the body is attached to the soul. So, what am I trying to say about that? How you visualize your soul, or how you visualize your body, is how you're going to visualize your soul. And every time you take that courage to go forward, to go and take that first step, it's going to be literally the same thing of you looking at yourself, physically taking that first step and going about what you need to go through, and sooner or later you're going to be running, and you're going to be sprinting, and you're going to be going. Next thing you know, you're just going to feel like you can never stop, because um, you're living your purpose, and you're going after your goals that you have set for yourself. And it's important, both mentally, physically, and spiritually, that you do that you go after it. And if you fall, then you fall. But at least one thing you can say: if you fall forward, at least you're falling from where you came from. And if you fall down and fall back, just make sure you fall on your stomach so you can push up and get up again. You know, and that's the thing. The saddest curse to have is sloth, because uh, it's sad to see somebody not really pursue what they can completely be. Why settle? You get one life, so why settle? You get one life, so why not move? You get one life, why not spend the energy? Why not spend the effort? Now, does that go against? Am I going against anybody who's dealing with some illnesses and everything like that? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, if you're going through something, you got to get through it. You know, if you stay where you're at and you're going through something, then it's going to stay there. Even though people say, uh, I read this book, and it says when to speak and when to shut up, right? And all throughout it, the author is talking about how God will put you in these situations, and you got to learn when to speak up and when to allow God to take over for the situation, and when to be quiet. And that's the truth, right? But a wise woman once told me, too many people pray for what they want, but never make a move for it. Um, I've never seen a dream walk to somebody and just manifested itself. I never seen a plan go to somebody and just manifest itself. You're gonna have to put effort in. You're gonna have to put energy in, and do not. I mean, you know, I don't want anybody to get bogged down by these curses, but do not allow yourself to be bogged down by these curses, because they are hard to get rid of, because again, they all play into each other. They all will feed into each other. And the easiest, like I said, the easiest curse to be cursed by is pride, because pride will lie to you. Pride will tell you things. Pride will even mirror you and make you believe who you are is who you really are. No, you define yourself. Your soul, define yourself, because that is one of the many gifts God's given us. Um, and like I said, I'm gonna end this video now. I have nothing but love for y'all, and I hope you watch this video. And I hope you had a good New Year's. I hope you brought it in well. For the people who made their New Year's resolutions, remember, it only takes 30 days before, whatever you set for yourself is just strict and stone discipline. For the people who are trying to lose weight, um, when you work out, go about it the right way, go about your diet the right way. For everybody who had a rough 2020, my prayers go out to you. Same here. But we made it through. And please, just keep going forward. Go after whatever you want to go after. Again, this video is just as much for me as it is for you. Someday, at least in a year or so, I definitely will sit down and try to watch these videos, every last one of them, and really figure out where I was at that point. And hopefully, I'll be a lot better. Hopefully, my convictions stay true, and I'll walk the path that I really want to walk. And I send nothing but love to you. Start the year off the right way. Live your purpose as much as you can. Just live your purpose. And I love you.